Let's talk about Chapter 2, Section 1, Types of Political Parties. Chapter 2 is a short chapter, all about political parties. A lot of important topics, but let's get started. Political party, what is it? It's a group of people that try to control the government by winning elections and holding public office. Let's take, for example, in the United States, the Democrat Party, or the Democrats. They're a group of people who are trying to control the government. How are they going to do that? They're going to win elections and hold office. So right now we have the newly re-elected President, Barack Obama. He's a Democrat. He has a large hand in controlling the government, and he just won an election, and he holds the office of the president. Here we have Harry Reid. He's the Senate Majority Leader. He's a Democrat. There are more Democrats in the Senate than there are Republicans. So he is the leader of the majority. And over here we have Nancy Pelosi. She is the House Minority Leader because Democrats have a minority control of the House. There are more Republicans in the House of Representatives than there are Democrats. So she is the House Minority Leader. So here are three Democrats. They're trying to influence and control the government. They've won elections. They hold office. That's what a political party is. There are political parties all around the world. So whether we're talking about the United States or Canada or Mexico or Greece, here we see a list of different Greek political parties, or if we're talking about Japan or the Far East. No matter where you go, there are political parties who are trying to control the governments of their countries. There are three types of party systems that a country could follow: a one-party system, a multi-party system, or a two-party system. Let's first look at a one-party system. In a one-party system, there are a few characteristics that stick out. One political party controls the government. Usually, a dictatorship requires a one-party system, because if you recall from Chapter 1, dictators control things like the news or schools or political parties to keep their power. And the party in control does not allow other parties to exist. That's why you only have one party. An example of a one-party system would be China right now. Only the Communist Party is allowed. No other political parties are allowed to be formed. Classic example of a one-party system. If we move past the one-party system and we talk about a two-party system, in a two-party system, there are two major parties who compete for control. Other parties are allowed, like they're not outlawed or anything, but they don't really play a major role in the government. If you want a perfect example of this, look no farther than the United States of America. We have two major parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. We have other parties like the Libertarian Party or the Green Party, but they don't really play a major role in much of the government. And finally, if we want to look at a multi-party system, multi-party system has a few characteristics as well. Three or more parties will try to control the government in a multi-party system. Voters pick the party that best matches their interest, and frequently you'll have parties that are dedicated to one idea. The parties have to work together to try to form a coalition to operate the government, because frequently you don't have more than 40 or 50% of the government that's one party, so you have to kind of group parties together to form a coalition that's greater than 50 or 60% so you can actually run the government and move forward. Here's an example: Italy. There are many parties in Italy. They have to form coalitions to operate the government. So here is, I believe, a picture of the Senate of Italy, or excuse me, the House, and each color represents a different party. So we have a lot of red seats and a lot of light blue seats, but they would need around half. You need all of one color, all red, all the way up to half, in order for that party to control the government. So if the red and the light blue work together, they would have a lot more than 50%. But as you might expect, the red and the blue are on opposite sides. So you have to look into what these smaller parties represent and try to work together to form a coalition to operate the government. In America, we have a two-party system, and there are two major parties. One of them is the Democrat Party. Generally, if we want to speak in the most broad terms without getting into any real specifics, the Democrats believe in more government, more spending on social programs, and they follow the idea that the government cares for the people. So here we see President Barack Obama. I think he would probably agree with all three of those statements. On the other hand, the Republican Party, in the most general terms, Republicans believe in less government, less spending on social programs, and they feel like the government holds back the people or restricts our freedoms or something to that effect. So the Democrats and the Republicans are the two major parties in America. There are such things as what we call third parties. Any party that isn't one of the major two, Republicans or Democrats, we call a third party. Examples I mentioned earlier, the Green Party, who would talk about the environment a lot. The Libertarian Party, who argue for maximum liberty and say we shouldn't have as many laws as we have. So we do have third parties, they're not outlawed. And more voters don't identify themselves as a member of either main party. We call these voters independent voters. We say they haven't selected a party, but they want to express their voice and their vote. They're not always going to vote for Republicans. They're not always going to vote for Democrats. We see a growing wave of independent voters in the United States of America. So there's a 6-minute overview of Chapter 2, Section 1. Please complete the assignments or come to class prepared to discuss.